For number 14, it says that we're trying to write the equation for a line that is perpendicular to the line that goes through these 2 points, and we want our line to go through this point. So we are going to need our point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Because we are going to figure out the slope, and we have a point that it goes through, and then we will rearrange this and put this into y-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. And the last thing that we're going to need for this is our slope, which is our slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. None of these formulas are going to be given to you on the blue sheet, so make sure you know these for your test. For number 14, it says that we are going to make a line that's perpendicular to the line that goes through those points, and our line will go through the points 4, 1. So if our line is going through those points and we need our m, x1, and y1, our x1 and y1 come from right here, 4 and 1. So x1 is 4, y1 is 1. Now, in order to use our point slope form, which is this guy right here, all we need now is our m. Our m, our slope, is going to come from these 2 points right here. It says we want a line that's perpendicular to the line that goes through these points. So first we'll find the slope of these, then we will find the opposite reciprocal. So the slope of those two will be y2 minus y1. So I can call this x1, y1, x2, y2. And I can do y2, which is negative 1 minus 0, over negative 1 minus 3. Negative 1 minus 0 is going to be negative 1. Negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. So the slope of the line that goes through these is 1/4. So if I have a negative divided by a negative, that becomes positive. So the opposite reciprocal is what I'm going to be using for the perpendicular line the perpendicular slope. So if the slope of this line is 1/4, to find the perpendicular, I will do the opposite reciprocal. Opposite meaning I'll change the sign. If this is positive, it'll now become negative. And reciprocal means I'll flip my fraction. So the opposite reciprocal of 1/4 would be negative 4 over 1, or negative 4. Now I'll plug it into my formula. Y minus y1 equals m, which is negative 4, times x minus x1. I'll distribute my negative 4. So y minus 1 equals negative 4x plus 16. And last but not least, add my 1 to both sides. So my final answer is y equals negative 4x plus 17. For number 15, I want the equation for a line that is perpendicular to the line that passes through these 2 points and that goes through this point. If it goes through this point, we know that that will be our x1 and our y1. So our x1 will be 4, our y1 will be 3. The slope we will find from these. Again, we're trying to create something that's perpendicular to the line that goes through these two. So once we find this, the slope between these 2 points, we need to find the opposite reciprocal. So the slope of these two, I'll call this x1, y1, x2, y2. We will do negative 4 minus 2 over 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 gives me 0. So that means that the slope is undefined. So an undefined slope is a line that looks like this. It's going to be vertical. I could also plot this real quick if I got confused. And I'd say, okay, something that's perpendicular to this, if I'm at 1, 2, and at 1, negative 4, that's going to be this line right here. Perpendicular to that is going to have to be a horizontal line somewhere. If it's horizontal, then I know that the slope is going to be 0. So I know my slope is 0. So what I can do is y minus y1 equals 0 times x minus 4. All of that is equal to 0. So really, y minus 3 equals 0. I'll add 3 to both sides, and y equals 3. That will be the equation of the line. at y equals 3, that means when y is 3, it will be a horizontal line, which will give us exactly what we're looking for. This one was a little tricky. Now, if I'm looking for a line that's parallel to this line and goes through this point, I will need my slope. I will need my x1. I will need my y1. My x1 and y1 come from the point that it's going through, which would be -2, -5. And my slope will come from this equation here. So what I need to do is I need to put this into y equals mx plus b, or slope-intercept form, so I can figure out what my slope is. So really what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So I get 4y equals 2x minus 3. Divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. Y equals 2/4 x. Nothing else matters. I only care about the 2/4. The 2/4 is the same as 1/2. So the slope of this line is 1/2. If I'm making the line parallel to that, then my slope will also be 1/2. Now I can plug all that into y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Minus a negative becomes a positive, so y plus 5 equals 1/2 x plus 2. Distribute my 1/2. Y plus 5 equals 1/2 x plus 1 when I distribute that. And now I need to subtract 5 from both sides. And my final answer will be y equals 1/2 x minus 4. Good luck on your test.